When you become a doctor, you take an oath to do no harm. But this morning, there is a physician in Michigan accused of misdiagnosing and mistreating cancer patients and keeping others on allegedly unnecessary chemo. Prosecutors say this was all a scheme to make tens of millions of dollars, and ABC's Lindsay Janis is on the story. Lindsay, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. This morning, Fareed Fatah is in jail after being charged with mistreating his cancer patients and defrauding the government of $35 million in false Medicare claims. A second judge will now decide whether to grant prosecutors' request to deny him bail. Federal prosecutors are fighting to keep 48-year-old Dr. Fareed Fatah behind bars, calling the oncologist accused of misdiagnosing his cancer patients a flight risk. Tuesday, federal agents arrested Fatah, raiding his multiple offices in the Detroit area and seizing medical records. In court documents, a U.S. attorney alleges Fatah gave unnecessary chemotherapy to patients in remission and fabricated diagnoses in order to bilk millions from Medicare. This morning, relatives of his alleged victims are speaking out. In a bond hearing on Friday, Jeff Burrs testified that when his father didn't respond to chemotherapy, Dr. Fatah refused to stop administering the drugs.
From the time that my father began getting the chemotherapy, his health deteriorated just worse and worse all the time.
Fatah's attorney says his client is innocent and that federal agents have been duped by disgruntled employees.
The government has not retained an expert to give an opinion that there was a mistreatment or misdiagnosis or unnecessary tests given to any patient.
But other healthcare workers suspected something was wrong as far back as 2010.
I don't know, how he's gotten away with it for this long.
Cancer nurse Angela Swantek tells ABC News she first complained to investigators 3 years ago after spending just 2 hours at one of Fatah's clinics.
I was disgusted. I got in the car. I was still sitting in the parking lot, and I was truly almost in tears just because of what I saw and how patients were getting their chemotherapy.
The state says it is still building its case against Fatah as more patients and family members come forward with complaints. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison. Dan and Bianna.
It's an unbelievable story.
Yeah.
All right, Lindsay,
Shocking
thank you.
allegations.